and welcome to another episode of Loose Buttons, the podcast where we talk about everything Traitors. Today we will be talking about the Traitors UK Season 4 final. So excited! But before we start, I want to introduce you our special guest. She's gorgeous and she's a total diva. So let's all welcome GiGilamour. Hello Gigi, how are you?
Hello, I'm so good. How are you?
I'm very good. How's things with you? How are you keeping up? Are you keeping busy and booked?
Been amazing recently. I'm just really blessed with the bookings. I've just been enjoying drag, just being fierce, fabulous, and a diva, like you said.
That's the way we like it. Well, just before we go into the episode, just the question I ask all our guests: if you were to play the game, what would be your strategy, and whether you would like to be a faithful or a traitor, or what would be your game plan?
I think everyone wants to be a traitor when they go on the traitors. Like, surely, because you're the main character, and I mean, I'm a drag queen, so I want to be the main character. So I would definitely ask Claudia for me to be a traitor. The reason for that is I feel like I could play a really good game with being friends with everyone and try to like get around everyone and just try to get in their heads about other people instead of myself. If there is any suspicions like about me, yeah, I feel like I would mostly play like the kind of friendly person, friends with everyone, and just coast through the game hopefully, but be sneaky behind people's backs and slowly eliminate all my friends.
Um, do you think like the start of the game you want to start like a full guns blazing, like being really loud, or would you start the game like being a bit quieter and then come out of the shell? What would be kind of the game, your start of the game?
That's a tough question. I think at the start of the game, I would be more like I think I would be quite quiet, but slowly getting to know people as
Yeah.
time goes on. But I think I would play a kind of mixture of both loud and quiet. So I feel like I would play the chilled back vibe and then open up more through the competition.
Yeah, because I think it's very important, like what we've seen so far. It's good to be the listener, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to like, even though if you're like a loud personality, sometimes it's better to like kind of listen what people are saying so you can action accordingly. How do you think you will do with the challenges?
Honestly, see, seeing these challenges, it's like if I was to ever apply for the traitors and I would get on, I couldn't do any of the water stuff because that absolutely I have a fear of like water. I have a
Oh.
fear of like not water, but I have a fear of like big oceans or seas or whatever like that. So kind of like there's challenges where you have to swim in the water or be on a boat. I couldn't do that.
I think, yeah, I think this season we have seen some crazy challenges. We're gonna talk in a minute about the final episode, obviously, which that challenge was like, I think many of us were like in the edge of our seat, like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Now moving to our team of people that have obviously taken part of this season of the traitors. Do you think Claudia chose the right traitors?
100%. I think these traitors that have played out during this season have been the best traitors I have ever watched on national television out of all of the series and spin offs of the traitors from Australia, America, and the whole of the UK. Like every single traitor spin off, these traitors have been one of the best.
And what do you think about obviously the traitors that were eliminated, that were banished, Hugo and Fiona?
I had a feeling about Hugo. Hugo was like, I just don't know. You know, when you get a feeling about someone that they're not going to play the game well, definitely felt like Hugo was going to struggle there with that because he was playing the quiet game. I think it depends on your kind of, I don't know, sometimes it can depend on how you look, to be honest, like with how people perceive you. Hugo would come across as like
Arrogant.
arrogant, yeah. And I think people all just stuck the suspicion on him from the way he acted in the breakfast and stuff. So I
Yeah.
feel like that was fair game for him to be banished.
I mean, Hugo went a bit too much. And like you were saying at the beginning, I think sometimes you need to start a bit quieter. Um, because at the end of the day, I don't think like after 2 days in the castle, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm crying for my best friend because you're not really friends with that. Um, Now that we talk about the traitors, obviously, let's talk about how fashionable and stylish Steven was. Will you be one of those people? Because I know you are very glamorous. If you were to be chosen for the traitors, would you like up your game with your outfits and your presentation?
Breakfast in the morning in full drag, head to toe. even for where they do the cutscene and they're walking down the corridor with the cloaks on, I would be in full mug, like just walking down the
Oh,
corridor with it would be so fierce.
I think it'll be amazing. And I think, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you're a drag performer, you have built all these different skills of like you need to listen to the audience, but you need to be quite quick. We have seen in the scene times where you are performing and suddenly people throw themselves into the stage and you have to act up quite quickly. So I think it will be great. I think we are very pro having a drag performer in the next season of the Traitors UK. Do you think play up what you were expecting from episode one to this last episode we're gonna talk about it, or do you think the twists and turns make you change your mind or who was gonna win it?
Definitely like the way people played the game, Stephen confused me a lot.
Mm.
But I definitely had Rachel in my eyes to make it to like the final. But I feel like it played out how I expected it to play out, to be
Yeah.
honest. The
Rachel
twists
from
and turns were really, really they kept me on
Gaggy.
my edge because I was like, honestly, sometimes you didn't know.
Absolutely. I think it took everybody by surprise because there was like not just new challenges but new twists and turns that people were not expecting at all. Um, let's talk a little bit about the Red Cloak, the secret traitor. Do you think that was a good play on this new season?
I feel like they could have worked with it a bit more and made it more interesting. I feel like they gave away the secret traitor too early in the game.
Yeah.
I felt like they could have left that secret traitor in there for a bit.
Did you guess that it was Fiona?
At the start, I think she was in the car, and someone said, "Who like all of us in the car are definitely not traitors." And then it cut to a scene of her, and she was laughing. She was the secret traitor.
I love that. I think she was mother of this season, apart from Rachel, obviously. I think Fiona was just so funny. Now, obviously, we're gonna move to the final episode. What's been your overall idea of this season? What was your highlight? What's the thing that the episode or the part of the Traitors season four when you were like, oh my gosh, that was like up here?
I think the way like Fiona and Rachel's argument, the way that played out was insane. It was intense because you didn't know which way it was going to turn. When do you know what I loved? The cliffhanger we got left on that episode when they went inside the turret and Fiona was like and Fiona and Rachel were basically arguing with each other in the turret. And they were going back and forth. Fiona said something like, so who are we gonna murder tonight? And then Rachel said, well, if I could murder you, it would be you. Like amazing TV. But they left us on that cliffhanger. I think that was like one of the highlights because it kept us waiting for the next episode.
I like that. I thought it was like very unexpected. I didn't think Fiona was gonna lose it. But for me personally, I think my favorite of all was Harriet and Matty. That confessional, like Matty was like so savage. The whole game he was playing like really soft, and then he was like, "Yeah, murder Jesse, seduce me." And then Harriet was like, "I know it's you, Rachel. I know it's you. I know it's you."
Crazy. What did she say again in the breakfast? She says she screamed at Roxy. It was Roxy Summit.
Basically, Rachel was trying to explain it and say something, and Harriet just kept on talking with her, and she's like, "I'm not listening. I know it's you. I know it's you." And I think sometimes when you become so secure of what you're saying, like confident, make people suspicious because nobody could be that confident. You don't know. You don't know who the faithfuls and the traitors are. And we have seen that in previous seasons where people are like, I'm 100% sure you're a faithful. You don't know. You should never say 100%.
What Harriet went wrong with is that she was so angry at that breakfast that made people suspicious about her. The way Rachel defended herself and brought herself up and basically convinced everyone at the round table that she was not a traitor was completely amazing. But the way Harriet's started with a whole screaming match in the breakfast and that whole thing happened, I think that's when you went wrong. Yeah, you can have discussions about it during breakfast or with people in the castle, but
100%.
because she went so in with it in that breakfast, that's what messed her up.
100%. And she was on the money. She was on the money about Rachel, so she could have probably, as you say, she could have won it. Right, now let's finally move on to the final episode. So we start the episode with the dagger that obviously was given to James. Um, and James decided to obviously get rid of Matty, which was a real shame. Um, How would you play it up if you would have been James and you would have been given the dagger?
I would possibly banish Rachel if I was in Matty's shoes. From what happened the previous episodes about the suspicions, I
Yeah.
would definitely do it to Rachel, 100%.
But James was a really fun character to watch. He was always wrong. He was always wrong. Oh my God, bless him. Let's talk about the challenge that they have to do, that final last challenge. I was watching and I was thinking, what are they doing? Like, I've never seen anything like that done before. I was petrified and I wasn't even there.
So the boat thing was fine. The
Yeah.
boats were fine. I was like, this is easy. Then Claudia said, but this is not the last. And they went up in the dam. And see when she says that you need to walk down the dam, I am never ever doing anything like that. I would have denied. I would have stopped it. I would have stopped the game.
Yeah, I was impressed by Rachel, I have to say. I was impressed by Rachel because she's really and genuinely afraid of heights. And the fact that she just thought, you know what? All this money, I'm not gonna waste it. Let's go. So it shows people how committed and how brave she was, which was like amazing. Before that, before this challenge, they had the opportunity to have a shield for everybody not to be vanished. Do you think if you were a traitor, you would have tried to sabotage that mission so they wouldn't have all been um not being able to be murdered, or do you think you would have played it like they did?
I would have done what Rachel done, 100%. The way she told Matty, was it is it Matty? What's it, James? The way she told James to go back down the hill and get the gold from hitting the pots. And at one point, I was like, he's not going to make it, but somehow they always make it in 30 seconds. That's the thing that confuses me. But I would have played the same game as Rachel, 100%.
Now let's talk about Jade. I mean, poor Jade. I'm not being funny. She had the roughest journey of the traitors that we've ever seen. She was mentioned every single round table. How would you feel if you were playing the traitors and your name was mentioned every single round table?
I think I would just become fed up and just accept my fate, to be honest, you
Yeah.
know. If I was being mentioned every round table and I wasn't a traitor, I would start to be really pissed off. And I understand why Jade felt that she did.
She made it to the final, which is the most important thing at the end of the day, and she showed that the resilience that she had, let's say that way, because I mean, she cried, she got angry, she nearly walked off, all these things, but she still was there. Sadly, we come to the gag of all gags. It comes down to James and Rachel once again. First time in Traitors history in any of the franchises that have ever been, Canada, Australia, all of them, where we find two draws. So they have to go through fate, and it's basically the hand of faith. And Rachel managed to survive that. That was insane. What do you think about that?
Rachel's gone. But Rachel has had the most luck in this game ever. Like, speak about the luck of the Irish.
Yes, I was gonna say the same.
If I knew Rachel, I would tell her to put my lottery numbers in because I
100%.
would have a high chance of winning, honestly.
That was amazing. That's amazing. And it would be good to highlight that I think Rachel and Steven have been the luckiest traitors because they have so much heat, but people didn't seem to go through with his theories. They just left them there. Um, Obviously Rachel survived that round table, which is insane. And do you think when you saw that episode that Rachel was gonna stay faithful to supporting Steven, or do you think at some point she was gonna betray Steven?
No, I always knew Rachel was going to stay faithful to Stephen
Yeah.
because she did always stick to her word, and that you could tell that she wouldn't go behind someone's back unless they've done it to her, you know. And I did feel like sometimes she was clicking on to Stephen, and I was like, maybe she could turn on him, but obviously she still played the game and she stuck to what she said. So
It almost felt like a brother and sister. She was like the older sister and she was watching out for Steven, but also like when siblings they're like get annoyed at each other, but at the same time, that's almost like what it felt. Then we get to the top five, which is obviously we got Jade, we got Faraz, we got Jack, we got Rachel, and we got Steven. Is that the five that you expected to see in the final?
honestly, yeah. But One thing that I always thought is that obviously the way Rachel had all the heat on her back was because Faraz obviously mentioned something about that whole how Rachel's suspicious and this and that. I felt like she could have murdered um Faraz at the round table the night before and kept Roxy. That might have also had a suspicion, but Faraz never really brought up those suspicions until after Roxy got murdered.
Yeah, I think Faraz was quite clever because that night when he left, he was like, Rachel, please do not murder me. And she was like, so she knew she couldn't probably murder him, kind of thing. So that's the top five, and then we found out that at the round table, sadly, we say goodbye to Jade. I think it was his time to go, I'm afraid. I love Jade. I think Jade was great, but it was her time to go. She has so much suspicion throughout the whole game. Um, so we move now to Faraz, Jack, Rachel, and Steven. When you saw those top four, do you think that was it? The traitors won it, or do you think there was still a glimpse of hope for the faithfuls to win?
The way Stephen was speaking in his confessionals was insane. He was literally like, I have to do what I have to do to win this. I have to stick to my heart. But I was on edge for this whole time. This whole time I was on edge. I didn't know which way it was gonna go.
Absolutely. I think Stephen made Scotland and the Outer Hebrides proud, to be honest. Like, that boy, I mean, fantastic fashion and style, but also that poor boy was sweating more than Alan Carr. I know, being funny, I was like, how come people not pick it up that Steven is the traitor? Obviously, as you say, Steven had us all in the edge because, I mean, that deserves a BAFTA. I thought Steven was going to turn Rachel as well. I really thought that's it. Steven doesn't trust Rachel. Steven is going to go. Then, when Faraz got banished from the table, from the round table, do you think at that point the penny dropped and Jack realized that's it, the two of them are traitors?
If I was Jack at that point, I just still would have been on my edge thinking, hopefully we're both faithfuls, you know?
It was really tough, really sad to see. I think Jack was a great sport. He was really funny. It's a really interesting game because you build all these relationships, like you say at the beginning. They kind of become your friends, but it is a game, and it's good for people to understand that at the end of the day, it's just a game. Then, obviously, just before we end the episode, we found out that the two of them decide to vote Jack. That was nail biting when Steven was talking. When he said, my vote is based what soon is going to become clear why I made this decision. That's when I thought he voted for Rachel. When he said that, I was like, that's it. He got rid of Rachel. It's gonna be Jack and him.
I was like, this is it. Rachel's fucked. She's literally not even gonna make it.
I think we all agree that that part deserves a BAFTA. Just that last round table deserves a BAFTA because it was like pure high class television. Obviously, Jack goes, the two of them ended. And how do you feel about the outcome? The first time in Traitors history, any of the franchises, when two traitors have won.
Rachel was the one I wanted to win from the very start, and I'm so glad that the outcome was what it was
Mm.
because both of them couldn't have been better winners of the season.
There was two different games. I think Rachel was very calm, very focused, very professional, while Steven was a bit scatty and like he was quite funny. Like his reactions are like, as probably people have seen it and you've seen it. There's memes all around the internet. I think for me, Steven, his impression wasn't like Rachel. Rachel, I was excited to see what kind of plan she was gonna come out with. Do you feel the Celtic connection was a good overall situation? Because since day one they were like the Celtic connection. If you were to play the game and you were with another traitor and you're really close to that traitor, do you think you would have stayed fully faithful traitor until the end, or do you think you would have been like, you know what, at the end of the day it's a game, I'm taking all the money for myself?
If I feel like they've possibly put a target on my back and that I could actually get out of this game, I would play that game. Like I feel like it's a smart move to be traitor on traitor and banish another traitor. It also comes with a risk of you being sussed out to be a traitor.
Well, Gigi, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. I hope you have a lovely time. And just before you go, where can people find you? What are your socials? What's coming next?
There's going to be a very big announcement very, very soon on my socials. So stay tuned to my Instagram at the GiGilamour. That is TheGiGilamour. My TikTok is the GiGilamour with two R's at the end as well.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you so much, Gigi, for being with us tonight. It's been an absolutely amazing season of The Traitors, and we can't wait to see what season 5 brings us. Just remember, if you wish to apply, just go to bbc.com and goes on tours, and you can apply for the new series of The Traitors. Also, don't forget that now the merchandise for The Traitors is even better than before. You can buy your little badges, you can buy even a shield. And yes, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and see you again soon. Bye.
Mwah.